storia del Consorzio degli Uomini di Massenzatica.
The history of Uomini di Massenzatica Consortium began in 1894. In that year, the legislature of the Kingdom of Italy finally decided to recognize the value of collective property.
Conoscere una minima valenza alle proprietà collettive. Sono aree perfettamente coltivabili.
This is well-drained land, perfect for farming. But at what price? At the price of working it continuously. At the price of keeping it within an integrated system.
Che la proprietà collettiva ha garantito allora.
A system which collective ownership maintained then, maintained yesterday, and still maintains today.
Fini e mezzi che sono.
The history of the men of Massenzatica began more than 1700 years ago, around the Pomposa monastery, in a marshy and brackish area, not at all suitable for farming. Drainage works have made the area arable, with constant care given to the land and the landscape by human beings. The story of communities is one of canals to be dug, embankments to be raised, a story of land and water. The Po Delta is a fragile and complex area, and one in continuous evolution, the result of an intimate relationship between human beings and the environment.
Questo è un territorio speciale.
This is special land. We are proud to be able to give value, to have given value, and to return value to this area.
È un territorio complesso.
It is a complex land designed by the flow of the open waters of the Po Delta. Ours is a community that has settled and lives along the old coastline of the Adriatic Sea, which is now receded.
Si è ritirato.
In 1896, the men and women of Massenzatica formed a consortium in order to achieve management based on shared values and collective work, a strong link between community and environment for the benefit of future generations. The community and work are at the center of the endeavors of the administrators. The consortium is the glue between identity, community, and territory, and rests on the daily commitment of over 600 families, 1,600 souls.
Ci guida l'orgoglio.
We are guided by the pride and awareness of living in a special place,
In un territorio speciale.
in a special dimension.
Dimensione particolare. A noi piace dire
We like to think that our consortium has a soul.
The consortium reinvests its profits in inclusive development projects, supporting small farmers and promoting employment for its members, particularly women. At the center of its endeavors, the community and its needs, supporting social and cultural initiatives, restoring local heritage, and increasing services. Investing to combat depopulation and maintain high levels of employment. Collective land management able to represent an economic and organizational model, which has managed to evolve, transforming the sum of the interests involved into a system of shared values to be passed on to the future generations.
saper leggere i tempi e interpretare.
For us, knowing how to interpret the age in which we live and the conditions of a community requires intergenerational responsibility. It means working with a strong ethical imprint to try to leave things better than we found them.
Cerchiamo costantemente di coniugare i saperi dei nostri.
We are constantly trying to combine the know-how of our elders with research and innovation, both in the agronomic and social fields. This has enabled our land to grow in a homogeneous way.
Questa è una comunità che dal 1990 in poi, attraverso il lavoro.
Ours is a community which since 1990, through work and solidarity, has managed to integrate a lot of foreign labour and manage complexities. Ours is an agricultural system, which, thanks to hard work, manages to create multi-ethnic integration.
Ci piace anche considerarci non più come una zona.
We also like to see ourselves no longer as a depressed area, but as a rich one, still able to produce lots of energy and good results.
E molti buoni frutti. Questo è un territorio.
Ours is an area which, on average, is about 2 meters below sea level.
Siamo in un sistema idraulico complesso.
We are part of a complex hydraulic system where human beings constantly regulate the water so that the land is productive and fertile.
Devono essere produttivi e fertili.
The consortium is experimenting with a pact with the landscape, protecting the territory through the collaboration of farms and access to rural development funds. An agri-food agreement for a balance between agricultural production and renaturalization of the environment to achieve landscape enhancement and recovery of marginal, abandoned and disused green areas. The consortium is constantly engaged in looking after existing environmental resources, planting new tree and shrub species. It is also closely focused on protecting those parts of the landscape of great environmental value for the construction of green infrastructures. The Terra Pomposiane landscape is constantly evolving, suspended between land and water, and the people of Massenzatica are constantly committed to protecting the biodiversity and the struggle against genetic erosion. The result is a landscape with a strong identity, rich in a great historical, cultural and economic heritage.
Questa comunità svolge un compito molto importante di salvaguardia del territorio e di tutela del territorio.
Our community performs the most important task of safeguarding and protecting the land. So an intimate bond is created between it and the environment. We are working so that these lands can be the starter, the driving force to bring the Po Delta to a new level, to make it a green infrastructure where man and environment coexist for the benefit of future generations.
A beneficio delle future generazioni.
Selected from among 130 candidates, the Uomini di Massenzatica Consortium won the 2018 to 2019 edition of the prestigious National Landscape Award and has been nominated to represent Italy at the 6th edition of the Council of Europe Landscape Award. The project is recognized for supporting the reaffirmation of the values of collective property and land care, the implementation of sustainable development programs for the benefit of the local community, and the establishment of a representative experience of Italy's profound landscape culture.
Siamo riusciti nella nostra impresa di spostare l'asse delle priorità.
We have succeeded in our endeavour to shift the axis of priorities from I to we. For a community whose origins are very poor, having achieved goals of national and international importance sends us a message of great awareness, on the one hand of our limits, but also of our strength, which is rooted in being together.
Today, an important objective of the consortium is to extend the entrepreneurial and social model by exporting the economic and landscape values of the community to neighbouring areas in order to achieve the mutual enhancement of the fragile areas of the Po Delta.
Noi abbiamo fatto tanta strada, consapevoli.
We have come a long way, knowing that we can still do a lot. The need exists to mend the rift created in the 20th century between the city and the countryside. The city must reclaim its countryside as an element of reflection and meditation, not just as a productive element.
Elemento produttivo. Noi con il nostro sistema abbiamo consentito a oltre 20 aziende agricole di crescere, di produrre.
With our system, we have enabled more than 20 farms to grow and produce wealth and well-being in this part of the Po Delta. We should like to insist on proposing a type of agriculture that evolves towards food quality.
Verso un discorso di qualità del cibo, stiamo mettendo al primo posto la tutela.
We are prioritizing the protection of biodiversity. Through biodiversity and the rural system, we can also protect the landscape. A large green infrastructure in the Po Delta as an experimental agri-environmental laboratory.
Per quanto riguarda invece gli aspetti sociali,
As far as social and cohesion aspects are concerned, we are going to set up a microbrewery and a community shop aimed at enhancing the products of the countryside and creating jobs.
stiamo dedicando risorse significative.
We are dedicating significant resources to the support and operation of the local nursery school by increasing scholarships, relations with the academic world, and with universities. We believe that children are a resource, a value for our community.
The men and women of the consortium have already come a long way, but they look to the future, determined to do even better. They are relaunching their challenge. They have the ambition to transform the countryside into gardens. They think of themselves as the custodians of a land which is a great place to live.